Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Sorry. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama
Not there right there.
Rama Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana Sitaram 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 Sitaram Jaya 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 Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana 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 Sitaram Sitaram Jaya 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 Sitaram Raghupati Raghava Rajaram Patita Pavana 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 Sitaram Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radha Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari Radha Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva
Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ji Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Pandava Prabhu. Bhagavatam Adichi, Hare Krishna. I told you, Pandava Prabhu, you need to retune your guitar. It is way too high. And then you got a problem. Hare Krishna.
It's good for me, it's not good for her, and the opposite.
Anyway, thank you very much. And for those for those who haven't been here from the start, like Rashmi or anybody else, I wish everyone a happy Diwali, meaning not that we don't wish prosperous material prosperity as well, but not just material prosperity. We wish also spiritual prosperity. So both has to be there. If we just wish material prosperity on Diwali and happiness and prosperity, then that is not enough. That doesn't reflect the spirit of Lord Ram coming home from his exile, and thousands and tens of thousands lamps are lit along the way, and everybody is welcoming Lord Ram and Sita Ram Lakshman back into Ayodhya. Everybody is welcome, all the citizens lining the street back into Ayodhya, because out of love for Lord Ram. So Diwali, we should remember Lord Ram, and everything is centered around Lord Ramachandra, Sita Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman also, that we remember and on Diwali, and we wish everybody some spiritual blessings. May Lord Ram be always manifest in your heart. May the lamps which illuminated the streets of Ayodhya, may those lamps illuminate your bhakti within your heart to the lotus feet of Lord Ram. Lord Ram, oh, so many spiritual blessings can be given her. So don't just pass on a picture with a lamp. People will maybe not remember what that lamp is all about. Pass on a picture of Lord Ramachandra, of Sita Ram, Lakshman and Hanuman. That would be nice. I just posted a very nice picture into the chat of Lord Ramachandra. So Samir, you want to say something? I have a lot of firecrackers in the background. Samir?
Guruji, I just wanted to say, is Nalini, is she okay with the sound now? Because she had a problem. And Nalini Mataji couldn't hear.
Yes, it was the last time she had problems with the sound. Are you getting the sound okay, Samir?
I'm getting the sound okay, but you know what helps Nalini is that there's a speaker sign in the right-hand corner. If you press that, then you'll get better sound. I just wanted to assist.
Did you hear that, Nalini? A speaker icon in the right. So maybe you only get it by headphones or something. I don't know. Actually, the best sound is if you just plug some headphones in your phone. Put some earphones in and listen on the earphone. That you get the best sound. And if you speak, you get the best sound to that little microphone as well. So
yeah,
say it again. Say it again, Samir, what she has to do.
Okay, so if you're using a mobile, on the right-hand side at the top, there's a speaker sign, and it normally has a cross on it, a line, a diagonal line. If you press that, the diagonal line should come off, and then you can hear louder. So on the mobile.
That may very well be the reason. So if you do that, hopefully things are improving. Hare Krishna. So we wish everybody well.
Prabhuji,
I hope you're all well.
Sorry, I interrupted him.
Rashmi?
Prabhuji, I interrupted you. You finish and then I will speak.
You don't know how to raise that hand raising feature on your mobile?
I can't see it on it. I'm not on a mobile, I'm on an iPad, and I looked for it. I don't have it because I don't have the updated version of Skype.
Okay, then you ask Krishna to update. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm finished. What do you want to say?
I just wanted to glorify Lord Ram in 2 minutes, if that's okay with everybody else.
Yes, go ahead.
Lord Ram, he was so benevolent, like Sri Krishna. How Sri Krishna was prepared to break all rules, regulation, all promises. Similarly, Lord Ramchandra, he broke. There are loads of incidents. I'm only going to narrate one quick one, where Lord Ramchandra broke all the promises, all the rules and regulations to reciprocate the love of his devotee. So Shabri Mata was waiting for Lord Ram. Her guru had told her, you just keep doing your devotional service. Lord Ram will come one day. So this old Mata, she was from the Bhil community, which is a very downtrodden community. She used to live she was not even allowed inside her village. She used to live on the outskirts of this village. And she waited patiently with full faith that one day my Lord will come. Every evening she would sweep the path leading to her house, and she would decorate it with flowers. She would keep fruits and berries ready in her basket. One day my Ram will come, my Lord will come, and then everything should be ready. She did that for, it is said in a lot of scriptures that she did it for almost 40-50 years, from a young age to until she became really, really old. And she waited patiently. She did not go looking for Ram. Ram came looking for her. Ramchandra was in the guise of, not guise, he was in a sannyas form. For 14 years he had to take sannyas ashram. So he came in as a sannyasi, in a sannyasi form. Sannyasis are not allowed to enter the house of a non-sannyasi, and they do not even accept food from anyone and everyone. But Lord Ramchandra broke all those rules and regulations. He very much entered Shabri's house, and not only that, he accepted food from her, whatever berries she had collected. That story everybody knows. And then he also referred to her in Tulsi Ramayan. There is a verse which says, Raghunath ki kahi bhamini mori, means Raghunath is saying, Raghunath is Lord Ram, Raghunath is saying, my sister. So he's calling her Bhamini. So he's establishing a relationship with her. So how the Lord breaks everything for the love of his devotee. He's just reciprocating exactly what she wanted, despite the fact that he was in sannyas form. And another quick example is of Jatayu. Jatayu was a vulture. Vultures eat all sorts of dead animals. They kill other birds and eat. But Jatayu did service for Sri Ram during the fight between Ravan and Jatayu, when he was running off and kidnapping Sita Maya. When Jatayu was dying, Ram puts this Jatayu vulture's head on his lap. Even King Dashrath did not have that opportunity. King Dashrath died in the palace, grieving for his son. But look at Jatayu. He was only a vulture, not even human form, but the Lord took his head in his lap when he breathed his last. So Lord Ram did not differentiate between animal and human being. That is how glorious Sri Ram was. I just wanted to share this because it is Diwali today, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much. Very nice story. Huh? Yes, Lord Ram does not distinguish between animals or humans. Lord Krishna does not either. Huh? And Krishna is saying, Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitayacha. He mentions the cows first before the Brahmanas. So much Krishna loves the cows. He loves the Brahmanas also, of course, but in that verse, and Srila Prabhupada makes quite a note that the cows are mentioned first. So yes, of course, we also, as devotees, we don't distinguish humans or animals. We love the animals as much, the spirit soul, like anybody else. But that was interesting, said Shabri waited patiently. To mind comes a very nice verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that is in the 10th canto. It says as follows: My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your costless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances within his heart, words and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. That is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So it's instructing us to be patiently. At the time, there might come some suffering reactions of our past misdeeds. But while we patiently take on these reactions, not complaining, knowing very well these are the reactions to our past misdeeds, but at the same time we offer respectful obeisances within the heart, with words, with our body. So this is a candidate for liberation in due course of time, because it has become our rightful claim. That's what this verse is saying, and is absolutely a very wonderful verse of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So, yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Rashmi. Shall we enter our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading? And I think it is 1:115, our next reading. If that is not right, please do correct me. I think
we were on 119 last time.
Huh?
We got 119, Prabhuji.
119 we're supposed to be.
Yeah, we did. The last one was 119.
Okay, so I was reading ahead, it looks like. So we should be.
Haribol, Prabhu? No,
Yes.
you were not.
Haribol.
No, you are. We are
Not
on
on
115. We're on 115.
Oh,
Yeah,
Vashana Mataji, you missed something.
Yeah, she's missed some of them.
No, we did
It's
115, but then we went next, and we did 4 lots last week.
Yeah, but you
Yeah,
missed.
so we are on 115.
You missed
Oh, okay.
you missed
115.
you missed the session.
All right, okay.
You missed the session, Vashana Mataji. We are on 1:115. That. Welcome, Amma. Hare Krishna. Happy Diwali. May Lord Ramachandra bless you with pure devotional service on this wonderful Diwali day. The real spirit of Diwali is Lord Ram. So, 1:115. Are we ready? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Yat Pada Samshraya Sutta Munaya Prashamayana Sadya Punantyupashrita Svarthunyapo Nushevaya. Translation. O Sutta, those great sages who have completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord can at once sanctify those who come in touch with them, whereas the waters of the Ganges can sanctify only after prolonged use. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Pure devotees of the Lord are more powerful than the waters of the sacred river Ganges. One can derive spiritual benefit out of prolonged use of the Ganges waters, but one can be sanctified at once by the mercy of a pure devotee of the Lord. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that any person, regardless of birth, as Shudra, woman, or merchant, can take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, and by so doing can return to Godhead. To take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord means to take shelter of the pure devotees. The pure devotees whose only business is serving are honored by the names Prabhupada and Vishnupad, which indicate such devotees to be representatives of the lotus feet of the Lord. Anyone, therefore, who takes shelter of the lotus feet of a pure devotee by accepting the pure devotee as his spiritual master can be at once purified. Such devotees of the Lord are honored equally with the Lord because they are engaged in the most confidential service of the Lord. For they deliver out of the material world the fallen souls whom the Lord wants to return home back to Godhead. Such pure devotees are better than wise lords according to revealed scriptures. The sincere disciple of the pure devotee considers the spiritual master equal to the Lord, but always considers himself to be the humble servant of the Lord. This is a pure devotional path. Wow, that is a very beautiful, beautiful purport, all about pure devotional service. So very suiting to Diwali, that is the essence of Lord Ram, and therefore that is the essence of Diwali also. Pure devotees, pure devotional service. Very interesting in the beginning. The waters of the sacred river Ganges, they purify after prolonged use. I never have heard that before, and most people think that dipping once in the Ganges, yes, of course, it has its benefit, but really the real benefit of the Ganges water is prolonged use. And in comparison, to be in contact with the pure devotee of the Lord brings immediate benefit, immediately. There is a verse, I don't know if I find it. There is a verse. A moment's association, okay. Anyone knows that verse? A moment's association with a pure devotee? Anyone? Ben, you know that verse? It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, 2254. Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrikaya Lava Madra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Haya. What's the translation? The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. Isn't that nice? A moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success in life. Means one can be infected by pure devotional service oneself. So, any questions to that verse?
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna and Happy Diwali.
Hare Krishna, Amma.
Just the last comment that you mentioned as a moment with a devotee. I don't know if also in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam it's mentioned. I mean, I'm not going to claim to know a load of different cantos here, but I did read, and I'm probably fast forwarding too much, which is incorrect. But Canto 4, verse 24, one of the texts mentions about a moment's service in the association. If by chance associates with a devotee even for a fraction of a moment, he no longer is subject to the attraction by the results of karma or jnana. What interest then can he have in the benedictions of the demigods who are subject to the laws of birth and death?
Yes, very nice. This is an effect of getting in contact with a pure devotee, so that all desires for karma or jnana are immediately cleared from the heart. Because this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, as we have studied in the first few verses, it says that all misgivings are cleared from the heart. Hare Krishna. Ben, what are you sending us here? There's a lot happening today. A lot is happening. Let's see. Yes, that is that verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is said by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. And that's the same, Amar, what you just read in the Bhagavatam. So powerful. Now the question arises, Srila Prabhupada is not anymore with us. What chance do we stand? Question 2. Rashmi. How we can get a moment's association?
Srila Prabhupada is not here with us, but there are his disciples, and then more importantly, his teachings, his instructions. So none of the spiritual masters are there anymore. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana, nobody is here. But all their teachings, all the scriptures, all the instructions are still there. So they are very much present through that.
They are there. They are there. Srila Prabhupada said if one reads Bhagavad Gita, he has direct association with Krishna. If we read Srila Prabhupada's books, we have direct association with Srila Prabhupada. But we should not think that the physical form is the only association, is the only limit. We know there is the spiritual form of the pure devotee, and Rupa Goswami also, he is there. We're reading Upadeshamrita, we have direct association with Rupa Goswami. So there is no difference between the Vapu, the physical form, and the Vani, the instruction form, which is eternal. Otherwise, if Bhagavad Gita, Krishna wouldn't be present when we read Bhagavad Gita, then that would be not very nice. Krishna is directly present, and Srila Prabhupada is directly present. There is no difference. Vapu or Vani, same thing. Ben, you want to say something?
You say there's no difference, but there must be a difference.
Yes, there is, as Srila Prabhupada says, the Vani, the spiritual form, is even more beneficial than the Vapu, the physical form. Why? Because the Vani is always available for the next 10,000 years or more. But the Vapu is limited. It appears in this world and disappears in this world. So Srila Prabhupada said the Vani is superior to the Vapu. And with the Vapu, of course, once the spiritual master, the pure devotee, is physically present there, we have to serve him physically, practically. And when he's not anymore physically present, we're serving the instruction of Guru. So that's the difference. But in its essence, the benefit we can derive, there is no difference in that sense. And in fact, there were devotees, when Srila Prabhupada was physically present, So I became familiar. So actually to be in contact with the Vani, with the spiritual form of the pure devotee, is a much more safe situation. Because we see the physical form and devotees became familiar. They had some misgivings, but we always judge everything only what we can see and touch. But the instruction, the transcendental sound, that is actual reality.
Prabhuji,
And
you said about the moment's contact.
I'm not saying Chaitanya Charitamrita is saying.
Yeah, you read from the even a moment's contact.
Yeah.
So that a true example of that is Mirabai. She had only a minute fleeting contact with her Guru Raidas, and that's it. There was never ever any contact again with her Guru. One contact, few moments. She asked for Diksha. He gave her his musical instrument and he told her to chant. And that's it. He left, and that's it. She became a devotee. She was already on the path. So that was only a fleeting contact.
Yes, and how much association did Srila Prabhupada actually have with his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? Maybe 5 times? So we think, and there were other disciples, they were constantly with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. Constantly. So Srila Prabhupada maybe 5 times he had association with his spiritual master. So it doesn't depend on how many times we have been serving, being in touch physically, being in the presence of our Guru Maharaj. That is not what is important. What is important is how sincerely, if we are ready with all humility and we accepting the pure devotee within our heart, really accepting. Accepting means we surrendering to him, surrendering to all his instructions. It may be so that we cannot fulfill all the instruction at once. But within our heart we should embrace, and we have given that example before. Srila Prabhupada meditated on the order of his spiritual master for years and years and years before he came to the West. It's not that he couldn't do it, okay, forget about it. No. If we cannot do, even if we cannot follow all the 4 regulative principles, even if we cannot chant 16 rounds at this moment in time, we should not neglect those principles. We should hold them sacred in front of us and praying for that moment and endeavoring with all our strength and heart to be able to follow those instructions. And these instructions, these principles are very, very, just 5 of them. 4 principles, regulative principles, and the 5th chanting 16 rounds. So we may find ourselves in a situation that we very much addicted to one thing or another. It may be even as simple as drinking tea. We may be addicted to drinking tea, but we should not minimize and rationalize. Oh, I don't think that's right. That's not. If we even if we think what you speak, we think tea. So that is just a herb, or that's not right. What is wrong? Then we haven't really embraced and surrendered to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. If the 4 regulative principles, including tea as an intoxicant, then we should full-heartedly accept that. We may not be able to give it up at this moment, but we should meditate on it, we should pray for it, that we find the strength one day to follow that principles. So that is the surrender to the lotus feet of the spiritual master, giving one's heart in full, embracing all his instructions. And the day will come, we will be able to follow all of them, because our spiritual life is progressive. And if we embrace the orders of the spiritual master in such a way, then we get the mercy also, and we get the strength which comes along with that surrender. So we should never rationalize or becoming like the Christians. I recently had a discussion with one again when it came up, you shall not kill. And he conveniently picked up the translation, you shall not murder, just to justify his meat eating. So they're changing the scripture to justify it, but instead of changing themselves to bring the scripture and themselves in line, so rather change the scriptures to bring the scripture in line with their habits. Habits are not so easy to give up. And this verse, which I just read before, if we just patient in devotional service, and whatever difficulties are coming, we patiently waiting and we accepting that bit of karma, or we may even accept our lack of strength to follow everything. But that is, of course, not an excuse that we make compromises. We should really endeavor our hardest. And we will get that strength. And one day we'll be able to follow all these 5 principles fully. And then, yes, the mercy of Guru is available. Srila Prabhupada will be very much pleased. And we read the other quote, devotees asked that Prabhu, how can we don't spend enough time with Srila Prabhupada, how can we develop a relationship with him? And Srila Prabhupada said, so what did you tell them? Well, they have the relationship with you, so your books and this and that. And then Srila Prabhupada said, you should ask them, are you chanting your rounds? Are you chanting 16 rounds? Because if not, what relationship you have got with the spiritual master? So that is very revealing. If we follow the orders, these 5 principles of the spiritual master, then we have a proper relationship. But if we are neglectful, then what relationship we have got? Samir, you raised your hand.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, everyone. Dhanwad pranams to everybody. I was just, Rashmi brought up Shabri, and Shabri was they were playing in the garden and they got caught. And she was a very little young girl, but she was hanging from the branch when she got caught, because the rest of them ran away and she got caught on the branch of the tree. But then she was given the instruction, so she just followed the instruction every day. She was actually 88 years old when when Lord Ram came. So, it's a very nice example of just following instructions, that Lord Ram, and having the faith. That she was told Lord Ram will come one day by her guru, and she was told that when Lord Ram comes, first of all, bring the slippers, the guru's slippers, and so that just if we can just lead, try and follow instructions like she did. And she was so pure, because she would even taste the fruit before giving it to Lord Ram. So Lord Ram was eating the remnants of her fruit, and because she was so pure, it was with pure love. Now, how can we bite it and then give it to the Lord? Our thinking is like that, but her thinking was just out of pure love. And then even Lord Ram gave it to Lakshman, and Lakshman didn't eat it, and he threw it. He threw it so far that it turned into that mountain where, when they needed medicine, Hanumanji went to that mountain and he couldn't find it. And that was another instruction where he followed instructions. So he couldn't find the medicine on that mountain because that little fruit that Lakshman threw turned into the mountain. So Hanumanji picked the whole mountain up and brought it to Lord Ram. So, it's a very, very nice example of Shabri.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Are there any other questions with that first verse? Or shall we move on? Okay, let's move on. Vaishnava, you want to take the 1:116?
I'll just take the mic on, go back. 1:116. Next. Right. Okay. Hare Krishna. Kova Bhagavatas Tasya Punya Shlokedya Karmanaha Shuddhi Kamona Shrunuyad Yasa Kali Malapaham. Translation. Who is there desiring deliverance from the vices of the age of quarrel, who is not willing to hear the virtuous glories of the Lord? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The age of Kali is the most condemned age due to its quarrelsome features. Kali Yuga is so saturated with vicious habits that there is a great fight at the slightest misunderstanding. Those who are engaged in the pure devotional service of the Lord, who are without any desire for self-aggrandizement, and who are freed from the effects of fruitive actions and dry philosophical speculations, are capable of getting out of the estrangements of this complicated age. The leaders of the people are very much anxious to live in peace and friendship, but they have no information of the simple method of hearing the glories of the Lord. On the contrary, such leaders are opposed to the propagation of the glories of the Lord. In other words, the foolish leaders want to completely deny the existence of the Lord. In the name of secular state, such leaders are enacting various plans every year, but by the insurmountable intricacies of the material nature of the Lord, all these plans for progress are being constantly frustrated. They have no eyes to see that their attempts at peace and friendship are failing. But here is the hint to get over the hurdle. If we want actual peace, we must open the road to understanding of the Supreme Lord Krishna and glorify him for his virtuous activities as they are depicted in the pages of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. So, what we're learning here? You can turn your microphone off, Vaishana.
Oh, right, sorry.
So, what we're learning here? 3 points Srila Prabhupada makes. Pure devotional service. You see, this is Bhagavatam. Every purport is about pure devotional service. That's what Krishna consciousness is all about. Nothing less. Those who are engaged in the pure devotional service of the Lord, who are without any desire for self-aggrandizement. So that is a very strong point. People all over the world, they want to, they feel they are so great. They want to appear so great, even they're not that great. From politicians to leaders to small people also. So one has to be free from. That's just the opposite of humility. Devotee, a true devotee, a humble devotee, he does not think he is important. The Lord is important, and the other devotees are important. In fact, there's a statement in the Shastra, so more one is broken in devotional service, so more humble and unqualified one feels. It just goes the opposite direction, and not in a theoretical way, no, in a very practical way. The great Vaishnavas, they don't think they're great. Everybody else thinks they're great. They think themselves to be the most fallen. So that is a very important quality. If we want to show off our learning, our devotion, our whatever, our talents, then that will not work for us. And the two other points Srila Prabhupada speaks here, freed from the effects of fruitive actions and dry philosophical speculation. So that's very important. Same point what we have earlier. Karma and Gyan, in all its different forms, have to go out of a devotee's life. Karma, any hankering for the fruits. And Gyan, any mental speculation. Everything what a devotee says has to be backed up by Shastra. And Srila Prabhupada made also very clear, he criticized political leaders or scientists or anybody who says, I think, we believe. No, there is no, in my opinion, there is not something, the devotee will never say that. In my opinion. We don't have an opinion. We're just repeating the opinion of the pure devotee. And that is not even an opinion. That is an instruction from the Shastra and his spiritual master So we never say, devotees never say, in my opinion, it's like this, like that. Either we know or we don't know. If we don't know, we just don't know. We cannot know everything at any point. Of course, if we get the full mercy of Krishna and we we are rewarded with pure devotional service, and the devotee knows everything. Everything. So these effects of mental speculation or showing of our learning, this has to all to go. There is no place in pure devotional service for this. All Gyan. Otherwise we're falling back into that trap of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is saying, Bahunam Chanmanam Ante Jnanamam Prapatyante Vasudeva Saramiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. After many, many births and deaths of such philosophical speculators, of not surrendered souls, philosophers, they will take many births and deaths. And then they will also surrender to Krishna, eventually. We don't have to be in that boat. We have to give up that Gyan. Bhagavad Gita is not there for enjoying the wonderful philosophy. There is a wonderful philosophy. For 200 years in the Western countries, people have been reading Bhagavad Gita. Intellectuals, writers, the Bhagavad Gita was not unknown for 200 years. It has been circulating in Western intelligentsia, in the higher intelligent circles of society, but nobody ever understood that one has to live this Bhagavad Gita. Only since Srila Prabhupada has come, we understand this Bhagavad Gita is not an armchair philosophy. For 200 years, it was taken as an armchair philosophy. Just sitting back and enjoying the wonderful wisdom and the wonderful philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. That's not what that is. That is in the realm of Gyan. We don't want to that. We want to give that up, Gyan. Bhakti reigns supreme. So Bhagavad Gita has to be lived. It's a book to live. And it's only a book for devotees. Has been explained again and again. Bhagavad Gita, anybody who is not a devotee, he has actually no entrance into Bhagavad Gita. It's a book for devotees. Krishna says, I explain the science to you, Arjuna, because you're my friend and you are my devotee. So devotee means we giving our life to Krishna. 100%. Anything else to this verse? These verses are most beautiful. Why is they most beautiful? Because they're about pure devotional service. They don't waste any time with anything else. Any comments or any questions? I think we all agree that the age of Kali is complicated, and the leaders are foolish, and all their endeavors are frustrated. I wonder if anybody, Srila Prabhupada speaks here, makes a link with Bhagavad Gita. No, that was the last verse. Okay, shall we go to the next, which is 17. Ben, you want to take on 17 shloka?
Everybody seems to be going.
Huh?
No, just a couple of people leaving.
Leaving.
Yeah.
Pandava, are you leaving? Oh, he's gone. He has very often to leave earlier.
Prabhu, I don't mind reading this one because I need to go at 8:30 because we got family.
You need to go at 8:30. So why don't you stay till 8:30?
Yes, no, I'm saying that I don't mind reading this one, you know. So,
Oh, yeah, okay, you go ahead,
so
then.
because otherwise, yeah, okay.
Yes, because you have to go at 8:30, so you get a chance.
Okay.
Said why I gave Vajana a chance, because she also said she had to go.
Okay.
Let's tackle that Sanskrit, Amit.
Yeah.
Slowly, word by word.
I won't become a Sanskrit expert tonight, but
not tonight, but maybe tomorrow.
Or maybe next week, you know.
Okay.
Maybe take a few days for me to become a Sanskrit expert, but
not expert, just reading it. I help you.
Okay. Tya
Tasya.
Tasya karmanye uttarani.
Udarani. When the line is over the A, it is stressed, it becomes longer. Udarani.
Okay. Udarani.
That's it.
Pari Gitani.
Good.
Surbihi. Bruhina Shradathananam.
Yes.
Lilaya Tathata Kala.
You see, it's getting better and it's getting better. Translation.
Okay. His transcendental acts are magnificent and gracious, and great learned sages like Narada sing of them. Narada. Please therefore speak to us who are eager to hear about the adventures he performed in his various incarnations. Purport. The personality of Godhead is never inactive, as some less intelligent persons suggest. His works are magnificent and magnanimous. His creations, both material and spiritual, are all wonderful and contain all variegateness. They are described nicely by such liberated souls as Srila Narada, Vyasa, Valmiki, Devala, Asita, Madhva, Sri Chaitanya, Ramanuja, Vinuswami.
No, that is very well known. Vishnu. It's always written like that. Vishnu Swami.
Vishnu Swami, yeah, say Vishnu Swami.
The S is a sh. Vishnu Swami.
Vishnu Swami. Nimbarka Sridhara.
That's also the S with a slash over is a sh, like in almost like a sugar, Shridhar.
Shritar, Visvanatha, Baldeva, Bhakti Vinoda, Siddhanta,
Siddhanta.
Siddhanta, Sarasvati, and many other learned and self-realized souls. These creations, both material and spiritual, are full of opulence, beauty, and knowledge. But the spiritual realm is more magnificent due to it being full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity. The material creations are manifested for some time as perverted shadows of the spiritual kingdom and can be likened to cinemas. They attract people of less intelligent caliber who are attracted by false things. Such foolish men have no... I've lost it. I want to scroll up and I've lost the actual...
Such foolish men.
Bear with me. But the material creation is manifested. Bear with me, I've just... Okay, I see. Such foolish men have no information of the reality, and they take it for granted that the false material manifestation is the all-in, or is all in all. But more intelligent men, guided by the sages like Vyasa and Narada, know that the internal kingdom of God is more delightful, larger, and internally full of bliss and knowledge. Those who are not conversant with the activities of the Lord and his transcendental realm are sometimes favored by the Lord in his adventures as incarnations, wherein he displays the internal bliss of all association in the transcendental realm. By such activities he attracts the conditional souls of the material world. Some of these conditional souls are engaged in false enjoyment of material senses, and others in simply negating the real life in the spiritual world. These less intelligent people are known as karmis, or fruitive workers, and jhanas. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Jhanis. The J and the N with the tilde over the N is G. Jhanis. That's it.
Or dry mental speculators. But above these two classes of men is a transcendentalist known as Sattvata, or the devotee who is busy neither with rampant material activity nor with material speculation. He is engaged in a positive service to the Lord, and thereby he derives the highest spiritual benefit unknown to the karmis and Jhanis. Oh, there's more. Is it? Okay. As the supreme controller of both the material and spiritual world, the Lord has different incarnations of unlimited categories. Incarnations like Brahma, Rudra, Manu, Prithu,
yes,
and Vyasa are his material quality of incarnation, but his incarnation like Rama, Narsimha, Varaha, and Vamana are his transcendental incarnation. Lord Shri Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnation, and is therefore the cause of all causes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. I have some question. What does Srila Prabhupada talk about when he says the material creations are manifested for some time as perverted shadows of the spiritual kingdom and can be likened to cinemas? Anyone? How can the material world be likened to cinemas? Because Srila Prabhupada doesn't give more detailed explanation what that means. Samir.
It's likened to cinema because it's first of all, it's not reality. Secondly, it's temporary, like a cinema, so like a movie. So like a movie it's not reality.
In which
And
way is it
also,
not reality?
because it's saying that it's a perverted reflection of the actual spiritual world. So
No. In
it's,
which way? In which way is a cinema not reality? Can you explain a bit more?
so like if you go and watch a movie or something, there are actors in there, and in the same way we're all actors here. So this is not our constitutional position. So an actual actor, maybe he might be acting as say as a hero or something in the actual movie, but his actual position might be, something different. So
Off stage, right?
off stage, yeah. So the same way, this is not our reality. Our constitutional position is in the spiritual world. So that's why. And
Yes,
also,
nice.
yeah.
And
Also, it's
anything more, or anyone more on why cinema? That is certainly a good point. Anything more? Why it's not reality?
sorry, I raised my hand by mistake.
Anyone else?
Prabhuji, Prabhuji is so
Amma.
in regards to the cinema, as Samir Kali mentioned, yes, like a movie, and of course many, if not all, TV programs, the changing of moments, or the camera angles, the different camera angles suddenly happening, is not reflective also of reality, because it warps time and space in a non-real way, really, between moments, and this is against reality. This is and thus can sway the devotee from what is real and what is not. So it's
yes, that is certainly also true. But can we go a little bit more deeper? I mean, in the physics of cinema. Anyone?
Prabhuji, the actors in the cinema, so they are all playing roles. Then one cinema will finish. He may be a brother in one role, father in another, villain in another. So similarly, we are also in these we are in our bodies. The soul is changing its bodies, like how the actor is changing its stage and its various roles.
Yes, certainly. That is similar to what Samir has said. But what about the physicality, the physics of the cinema?
So there's no physics. Obviously, it's just a projection on a screen.
It's some dots of light on a screen.
Similarly,
and so it's not real, right? It's not real. It's just some dots of light on a screen, and people get the emotions and crying and laughing just because of some dots of light projected on the screen. It's amazing. Isn't that actually amazing? Some light dots are projected on the screen, and people starting to cry, and people starting to laugh and feeling like this, and emotional reactions are there. So that is totally unreal. If we analyze it, and it's just some dots of light on the screen. So therefore, in this material world, yes.
Yeah, sorry. I thought you paused there. And this is what plays in the mind of a non-devotee, that they're unable to control their thoughts, and they get if they can control their thoughts, that's one thing. If they can't, that's another thing. But basically, they get identified and associated with, as you've rightly mentioned, those emotions, ups and downs, and that is what happens in a movie. So yeah, that's what I wanted to mention.
So how do we control our thoughts?
Through devotion,
How?
devotional service,
How?
knowing that Krishna is the ultimate. There's no other reality.
Not only knowing, a bit more practical.
Worship, surrender.
Yes. Action. Always thinking of Krishna. Always having his name on our lips. That's how if we think always of Krishna, as Krishna says, Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto, always think of me, then we're controlling our mind, because then we don't think of anything else. Amit.
Yeah, so I was just saying, this projection of the cinema, would that also be known as Maya?
Yes. Illusion. The cinema is a big illusion, isn't it? It's a big illusionary session happening there, just by playing of some light from a projector. Illusion. And that goes further, that people not only crying and laughing, but they're taking that home and they're trying to relive this illusion in their lives. Ben.
But if you just say it's just it's illusion, it's just light. That's a kind of metaphysical way to look at it. But if you want to look at it from a different perspective, there's also stories there, characters. The actors are playing the roles, and they're narrating stories that people can relate to and identify to. So it does evoke emotion and feeling. So, and that's part of what it is to be a human being as well, isn't it?
Yes, and that makes a good film. Huh? If people can identify with those emotions, if people getting emotionally involved, huh? That makes a very good film. Huh? One is actually getting involved. Samir?
Yeah, I think Ben makes a very good point there. Also, of course, it might be illusion, and it might be like the cinema, but in this cinema we have a very very great chance, especially if we've come across Krishna, to go back to reality, to actual reality. So we have a great chance of going back home where we actually belong.
Yes, I just read today or yesterday, Srila Prabhupada explains that everyone wants this emotional relationship of a man and a woman. They may not feel complete. Therefore, they looking for this completeness in the other sex. So but it doesn't satisfy them, because here it is. That is actually from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I read, quote, "A man tells a woman, 'You complete me.' So romantic. Problem is, one conditioned soul can't complete another. Our feelings of incompleteness, that something is missing, are due to our forgetfulness of Krishna. We look for happiness and fulfillment in this world, but our expectations are met with disappointment." That is actually a devotee writing said. And here Srila Prabhupada As Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes in his Vaishnavism Real and Apparent, one material mind prays to another material mind, both of whom are being eternally and equally afflicted by three kinds of miseries. They're praying for relief and help. Prayers are but hankerings after enjoyment and are always caused by want, fear, and anxiety. So here's a point, is that this incompleteness, emotional and otherwise, that is due to our forgetfulness of Krishna. We may want to get that hole in us filled by all kind of things, by all kind of opulences, by fame, by name, by partnerships, by all of that, but still something is lacking, because that hole within that incompleteness is because of our forgetfulness of Krishna. Ben, you had your hands up. Yes?
No, I was just going to make the point that people they enjoy, they like stories. They like adventure, heroism, or kind of intrigue like that. So they're people that are attracted to these kind of things as well, you know.
Yes, why? Why is they attracted? Why is they attracted to these things? To the hero, to the heroine? Why?
Well, the original source of the adventure and the hero and the heroine is resides in the spiritual world with Krishna.
Yes, absolutely. That's why. That's why. Therefore, if we get absorbed in Krishna's pastimes, the real hero, then that need, that emotional need is fulfilled. We're not hankering in this material world for the hero, for the heroine, for the drama, and this, because we will never be satisfied. Amma, you want to say something? Your mic was
Apologies.
on?
Yeah, I did want to, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't have the icon to actually raise my hand on my Skype, so apologies for that. But as
So you might need to update your Skype to the latest version.
I believe so, yeah. I was going to say, as I've got the opportunity to talk now, following on, coming back to the cinema metaphor that we've been talking about. I had a small question before moving on. I appreciate there is this side of emotions in everyone, and really we should look away from that, because that's not helping us towards our devotional journey. However, the question arises that what if the video, or indeed the audio that we're listening to, is of devotion for Krishna? For example, listening or watching the unfolding of the Bhagavad Gita, then this would count towards. How would that entail with this sloka?
Good. Amit, okay, you take care. Happy Diwali, and we'll see you on Wednesday. So, yes, who wants to answer that question? If that drama, if that television, if that film, cinema is about Krishna? Who wants to say? Then what? Is that still illusion? Samir?
No, of course not. You know, anything that has Krishna at the center of it is not illusion. It's reality. It's actually the absolute truth. So that's what we're hankering for. So if if that's there, then that's devotional service in any form. So if you're watching something about Krishna, if you're reading, if you're chanting, if you're at the temple, whatever you're doing, if we put Krishna in the center, then, it's reality.
Well, thank you. Very nicely said. Then all our misgivings are purified, actually. When Krishna is involved, it also gets purified. Of course, one should not forget these pastimes need to be heard from the right source, of course. Sometimes the Bollywood movies are not that authentic or have an impersonal touch. Of course, if we're aware of that, we might still get benefit out of that because we don't have the authorized film version of Mahabharata or something like that. We have the scripture, where actually we don't even have, and Srila Prabhupada never translated a Mahabharata, but Krishna Dharma did and the devotees did and so on. Yes, but what Samir is saying, Amma, that if Krishna is in the center, then everything gets purified and our emotional needs for this and that get fulfilled. I mean, if someone wants to see some drama, just engross yourself in the Mahabharata. There is no greater drama than the Mahabharata. It's absolutely the greatest drama on earth. In the Mahabharata, I don't know how many shlokas. He has thousands and thousands of shlokas. And that's the greatest epic on earth, so to speak, in these terms. So if we want drama, if we want heroism, if we want deceit, if we want anything of that, Mahabharata is there. Ben, what do you say? Ben, your microphone is off. Don't talk with your microphone being off.
Oh, sorry about that. No, it would be good if they had experts, expert devotees who knew about the cinema industry, filming, directors who could, because you have to create a really professional and quality production, isn't it? In that sense.
Actually,
I've seen some of these dramas and they were quite poor, but I always thought they could be really done really well, but you need people who have the proper skills to do it.
Mm-hmm. And the money, of course. I have seen one Mahabharata, not even complete. It was a Frenchman. He put that Mahabharata on. It was a modern version. It was not with all the glamours and costumes. It was stripped down, almost Shakespearean in a way. But the dialogues, they have been absolutely superb. So, and very involving, extremely well done. Of course, it doesn't compare in all its glamour to the Indian Mahabharata with all the chariots and all the armor and all the costumes and all the horses. No, it was very simple, but the essence of it, I forgot the name of the gentleman who put that on. It's a 5-hour or more, or 10-hour affair, something like that. I do remember when I was in Mayapur, it was a premiere was shown, probably Paris. Indradyumna Swami and some devotees went there, and people camped out it wasn't a film, it was a play. People camped out in the theater, and because it was just going on for 10 hours or something like that. But the cast was great. The dialogues were great, and they played very convincing as well. If you ever get hold of that, I used to have a copy somewhere. I'm sure it is available somewhere. It's absolutely great. So this gentleman, he asked afterwards, he asked the devotee, so what do you think? Can you give me some advice? What what about this? What about that? So he consulted actually with the devotees and he improved the play. So it is not coming just from him. There is some collaboration there with devotees. Therefore, we might not have a film production, and we cannot come up with a Bollywood production in terms of finance and like that. But here is the drama there with devotee influence. When I remember the name of that gentleman who put it on, I'll let you know. Samir.
There are some very nice ones in India. I've seen a little bit of them, but they're supposed to be very, very accurate and very well done as well.
It's not about, yeah, of course, accurate. It's about the spirit behind. I know one Mahabharat, and the most famous one probably. The actions are okay, but when it then comes in between the chapters, then a voice somewhere, an impersonal voice is then coming in and explaining. So there is an impersonal side in. They usually always have the impersonal. You know what I'm speaking about?
Yeah, but the ones I'm
the time or something like that, yes. But as devotee who've go on.
The ones I'm talking about are very well done. There's no it's actually like a movie. Very, very, very nicely done indeed.
Yes, there's several versions. Some are better, some are. But even a devotee who knows the philosophy fairly well, he knows where they're going wrong and he knows where they're going right. So they're not, if we have the knowledge of the Mahabharata and we have the bhakti, the Siddhanta is there, we are fixed in the Siddhanta. Like there has been one Mahabharata version translated into the English. And that was a very old version, and the devotees read that because there was nothing else available. That was by Kamala Subramaniam. And I have that Mahabharata, and I read that Mahabharata 40, 30 years ago. It is very nicely described, but she is also an impersonalist. So at times, some impersonal idea comes through. And if one is fairly fixed up in devotional service, one can spot that and then, oh, here's the impersonalism comes through. Rashmi says, can we get back on track? Are we off track? Any other questions? We'll have to say Rashmi wants to finish the 9th canto in this lifetime. She's quite eager to get the liberation of the Lord. Which we want, of course. Okay. Let's go to the next shloka then. Rashmi, you take that.
Prabhuji, sorry, did you want me to read that one? Because I did mention that I have to go soon.
Oh yes, you go ahead then.
Yeah. I don't mind either way.
Try to get the Sanskrit right.
Okay, like Amit, I'm not going to be...
Prabhuji, I don't mind reading as well.
You do the next one after. Okay. So Amma first.
Okay. Apologies, I'm not a Sanskrit expert here.
No, you don't need to be an expert.
I might absolutely butcher what it's trying to say. So
give it a try. Give it a try.
Okay. So this is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.1.18.
Right.
Atakyahi Harer Diman Avatara Kataha Subha Lila Vidat Svairam Isvara Syatma Mayaya.
Yes, nice. Nice.
Translation. O wise Sutta, please narrate to us the transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Godhead's multi-incarnations. Such auspicious adventures and pastimes of the Lord, the Supreme Controller, are performed by his internal powers. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. For the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material worlds, the Supreme Lord Personality of Godhead himself appears in many thousands of forms of incarnations, and the specific adventures found in those transcendental forms are all auspicious. Both those who are present during such activities and those who want to hear transcendental narrations of such activities are benefited.
Thank you very much. So, important point here. Again, same point. Those who are present during such activities and those who hear about those narrations are benefited. So here Srila Prabhupada makes that point, that same point we had discussed before. The Vapu, the physical presence, and the Vani, the spiritual presence. Both are benefited. Anyone has any question to that? Short purport? Okay, let's move on. Nalini, you take the next. 19. Are you ready, Nalini Mataji?
Yeah, I was just trying to unmute myself. Okay, I'm now going on to 18. Sorry, Prabhuji, just bear with
19.
19, yeah. Just one moment. Now I'm to 18. Now I'm going on to 19. Yeah. Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vayam tuna pitrapyama uttama sloka vikrame yash charan vratam ras
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The R
Śrīmad-
with a dot. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ras gnanam.
Not
Svatu-
gnanam. Very many devotees say gnanam. It's gyanam. The N is not
Gyanam.
spoken.
Okay, it's not gnanam, it's
Gyanam.
Gyanam.
That's
Thank
right.
you, Prabhuji. Swadu pade pade.
Your Sanskrit is very nice.
I just read it from
I don't know where you got that from, but past lifetime or whatever, it comes very naturally. Translation.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah, translation. We never tire of hearing the transcendental pastimes of the personality of Godhead, who is glorified by hymns and prayers. Those who have developed a taste for transcendental relationships with him relish hearing of his pastimes at every moment. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There is a great difference between mundane stories, fiction, or history, and the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. The histories of the whole universe contains references to the pastimes of the incarnations of the Lord. The Ramayana and the Mahabharata and the Puranas are histories of bygone ages, recorded in connection with the pastimes of the incarnations of the Lord, and therefore remain fresh even after repeated readings. For example, anyone may read Bhagavad Gita or the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam repeatedly throughout his whole life and yet find in them new light of information. Mundane news is static, whereas transcendental news is dynamic, inasmuch as the spirit is dynamic and matter is static. Those who have developed a taste for understanding the transcendental subject matter are never tired of hearing such narrations. One is quickly satiated by mundane activities, but no one is satiated by transcendental or devotional activities. Uttama sloka indicates that literature which is not meant for near science. Mundane literature is in the mode of darkness or ignorance, whereas transcendental literature is quite different. Transcendental literature is above the mode of darkness, and its light becomes more luminous with progressive reading and realization of the transcendental subject matter. The so-called liberated persons are never satisfied by the repetition of the words Aham Brahmasmi. Such artificial realization of Brahman becomes hackneyed, and so to relish real pleasure, they turn to the narrations of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Those who are not so fortunate turn to altruism and worldly philanthropy. This means the Mayavadi philosophy is mundane, whereas the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is transcendental. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So here, Srila Prabhupada especially makes a point, said even if we read Bhagavad Gita again and again, or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam again repeatedly, throughout our whole life, we find always new information, new insight, because Krishna speaks directly to us. So actually, these things are not like material literature, where one can read a drama, Shakespearean or any other fiction, once, twice, maybe three times, maybe over a lifetime, even 10 times. But then it becomes hackneyed, it becomes, I know this story, like that. So transcendental literature is not like that. One can read again and again. I mean, I personally have studied Bhagavad Gita for 40 years, over 40 years. And it's not hackneyed, it's not repeating itself. There is always new insights. One can read Bhagavad Gita again and again. It's not like, oh, I have read Shloka, or I've read Bhagavad Gita once. It's not. If one thinks like that, then there is no real insight into Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. I've read all Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam once. Enough. I know it all. It's not about knowing. It's not about knowing the storyline. It's about the deep realizations. While Krishna reveals himself and gives us realizations, Krishna says himself in Bhagavad Gita, I give remembrance and forgetfulness. So that comes from Krishna. He gives us realizations, and as we improve, as we march on our spiritual path, I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna reveals that intelligence. He shows us how to come to Krishna. And if it takes 10,000 times reading Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so be it. If Krishna shows us how to come to him, that's the idea. That is the idea behind. Anyone has any question on that shloka?
Prabhuji, sorry, I wish I could download the app at the same time and
one
raise
moment.
my hand.
Something has gone wrong here on my side. Okay, please.
Apologies, yeah, I don't have the app to update it to actually raise my hand, which I'll do afterwards. So yeah, I totally agree with everything you've said, and yeah, as the sloka says, ultimately we never tire from hearing Krishna's pastimes and being being in this state, because it gives us more spiritual and devotional energy, I think. And such is, for example, Shankar Bhagwan, who's mentioned a few times, is unbelievably attracted to Krishna's presence and honors at every moment to praise the Supreme Lord Hari, Krishna. And this gives him, and indeed all devotees, the ultimate realization and satisfaction beyond all material experiences. And as you've rightly mentioned, and I was making notes actually, just as this sloka was being read.
Oh, you're very good.
So basically, reading the Bhagavad Gita is kind of like one of the examples that came in my mind is like a dynamo. I don't know if those who remember the dynamo where you turn it around and it's connected to a battery or something, like basically like a generator. With each time slokas are read, or each time indeed the whole Gita, Bhagavad Gita is read, indeed with all the Puranas, that light to the lamp, which is of course within us, becomes brighter. Not brighter because of the power that's in there, but basically, and that lamp is of course depicted as the Atma. It's brighter because it's uncovering the brightness that's actually always on, and it's always been on. It's just we're slowly peeling off layers of ourselves, and this dynamo is removing all these layers. It's just our realization of it.
Very nicely said. Very nicely said. Nice example with a dynamo. We pedal and we connect it to the light, and it gives actually more energy. But that energy is already within us, and it's getting uncovered.
Yeah, I thought I'd just mention that. Obviously, today being Diwali, a lot of people are lighting divas. The light should be, as you light it, you should remember that it's not just external, it's actually internal. Just looking at the diva, you should remember actually this light is within us. So we should try and uncover all the layers to see it.
Yes, nice. Thank you so much, Amma. Thank you for that contribution. And if someone finds reading Bhagavad Gita or Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, or for that matter, chanting one's rounds, Hare Krishna mantra, if one finds it tiring and hackneyed, and that is a material platform. On the spiritual platform, it will be just as Amma has explained. It will be always new and fresh. And there is even a Bhagavad Gita verse which says it's always new and fresh. So if we find we have read that, I have read the Bhagavad Gita 3 times, all verses, or I read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and why should I read again? I know it all, I have read it all, then that's a material level, a material literature, as explained before. So we have to be careful. We can test ourselves. If we tire of the glorification of Krishna in the pages of Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, or Nectar of Devotions, then we should look what is within us that we tire of it, and we should address that. So I would say now we stop here. That's our last shloka. It's 9 o'clock almost. So we do a few minutes Kirtan, and then we call it a day. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe, Jaya Radha Gokulananda Radha Gokulananda Radhe, Jaya Radha London Ishwara Radha London Ishwara Radhe, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe, Jaya Radha Gopinath Radha Gopinath Radhe, Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe, Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe, Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe, Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe, Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe, Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe Radhe, Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe, Jaya Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Nittai Sachi Sundar, Nittai Sachi Sundar, Nittai Sachi Sundar, Nittai Sachi Sundar, Jaya Nittai Sachi Sundar, Nittai Sachi Sundar, Nittai Sachi Sundar, Jaya Nittai Sachi Sundar, Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada, Jai Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, 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 Jai Gurudev, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anandagati Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. I want to just mention, as earlier on Dharm has nicely pointed out, that tomorrow is Govardhan Puja Annakuta, as the Lord is fed so many wonderful preparations. So, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. We can perhaps speak on Wednesday a little bit more on Giriraj and Govardhan Puja and Annakuta. But for tonight, before everybody is dropping out, 9 o'clock, we are on time, actually. It's prasadam time now, so I hope you all have a wonderful Diwali feast prepared. And thank you for being here tonight, and we'll see you all back on Wednesday. Thank you, Ben, Dharm, and again, thank you for your recording, Ammar, Jayantibai, Samir. So at 9 o'clock, usually we're getting less and less devotees because there are other things to be done. Okay, thank you, and see you back on Wednesday. Hare Krishna.